As you are now tuning in, we are now graduates. We are now the parents of
Wait,
a
we're
high.
graduate?
We're the parents of a high school graduate. Parker, how do you feel? Hold on, wait a minute. Wait, before you say that. Thank you all for tuning in to the Watch for the Hook Business Entrepreneur Podcast. It's Michael with
It's Tatiana.
Miss Parker. How do you feel?
Oh, well, I've been introduced, so I'm better now.
All right, I got you. I got
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good.
you. And we want to say congratulations to all the high school, college,
Mhm.
um, secondary, postgraduates,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Listen, if you did some in the month of May, got you a certificate, a certification, a diploma. Hey, round of
A
applause for y'all.
degree, anything. Yeah.
Anything. Round of applause for you all. But we wanted to make sure that, we keeping this graduation conversation going. If you're watching us on the video, you see we got a graduation banner in the background.
Yes, we do. We've been partying all weekend.
Yeah, so we don't keep the festivities jumping. And so, but Miss Parker, it was emotional for me. I know it
Mhm.
was emotional for you, but it was also like, all right, sigh of relief.
Yeah.
We got through high school.
Yeah. Crazy thing though, it wasn't as emotional for me as everyone claimed it was going to be, right? Everyone was, oh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna this. It wasn't even sad.
No, it's a joyous event.
Yeah, it wasn't sad, like, I don't know, I did not cry. I guess, when you've been there the
Yeah,
whole time,
yeah. You happy for your child. Yeah,
right, like,
this is
it's
just
time,
this
yeah.
is one graduation of hopefully one or two more.
Yeah, like, I've had you selfishly for 18 years. I'll show you with the world now.
Yeah. And what you say, kids gotta leave the nest.
Yeah, yeah, like,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so,
Mhm.
like I say, this is part of what we've been discussing the last few weeks. So now we're gonna put the last 3 weeks together. And we're gonna talk about, okay, now that you graduated, now you're on to the next events in your life, which is college for my
Right,
goddaughter.
right.
And we talked about, the financial reasons you choose a college, the proximity that you choose
Yes,
a
yes,
college,
yes, yes.
and what did the college offer you?
Mhm.
And we talked about those things. And one of the stats we heard when they announced Taylor's new classes that they said, first of all, stand up if you got a scholarship.
And not everybody did.
Everybody
I
did.
think my baby was the only one on her row that stood up,
Yeah.
like, it was yeah.
And that right there was talking to the criteria. We're talking about, no,
Yeah.
what is the college offering to get you to come there?
Okay, right, right, right. They selling, you.
Yeah. And so I think they announced over what $3 million was
They did.
awarded in scholarships to their class.
They did. They absolutely did over 3,000,000. Now, I ain't gonna tell you something I saw. You know what? Nope, I'm not gonna make that.
I can tell you what I saw.
Oh, what you see?
You talking about the money or you talking about the demographic who stood
I
up?
saw well, the money, I saw where but I saw where I saw where it was put out there that one child in particular had over $1,000,000 in scholarships, and I'm just like, "How? When the whole class had 3,000,000?" But I just kept on going about my business.
That's even something that we've talked about.
Yeah, you
You
stop
know,
inflating them numbers.
even that, but we talked about, is it this thing, where people, my child got this many dollars in scholarships from 12 different schools. And that the only point you can do is go to one.
Speak on it.
You can only go to one.
You
And
you
listen,
you stole my thunder, my shine, my rain, my sleet, and my snow.
listen, there's nothing against being
No,
haunted. And I
no,
think that, maybe that's a bragging point that certain people like to have.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can only choose one school.
Right, you really can.
You only got one body.
Mhm,
That
mhm,
one body can only go to
mhm.
one school
Yeah.
at a time.
I'm not saying that individual did not rack up 1 meal out of the 3, that individual did not rack up 33% of that entire class's scholarship dollars. I'm not saying that.
Motherfucker must have wrote some hellified essays. Boy, Chat GPT must have gave them a hold of it. Because these
Listen,
kids ain't writing much shit.
what I'm saying is, I saw, like you said, the demographic, the
Yeah.
makeup and everything, and I'm just like, "Hey, tout your kids' horn, but stop inflating numbers." Cut the shit.
because you're only gonna go to one at a
Cut the
time.
shit. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And so that goes,
Yeah.
like I say, what we've been talking about, there's that financial piece. That financial piece is scholarships.
It is.
Part of that is also, did somebody else give you some money?
Right.
And
Right.
scholarships can come from academic and athletic.
Yes, it can.
That's one of the main reasons Taylor chose Missouri Valley.
Mhm.
They gave academic and athletic.
Yes.
That goes back to when we talk about the school you was choosing.
Yeah.
You can't let them give you half of what you're looking for.
Right.
You got to find the people or the school that's gonna give you most of all of what you're looking for.
Right. Right. As most as possible. Right.
Because if you're an athlete, you want the athletic dollar.
You do. I mean, if you want me to play, then
But if you also if you are a student athlete,
yeah.
you've been a studious student athlete, and you qualify for
Right.
the academic part,
Right.
you want the dollars too.
Listen, there's no reason that someone, and I'm probably speaking out of turn, there's no reason that someone is up here getting athletic scholarships, but you don't meet the criteria for an academic. Mind you, let's keep it a book. The school might have it where you have to have a 2.5 GPA to enter, right?
Hmm.
To be accepted. Now, 9 times out of 8, the athletic acceptance piece is going to be that bare minimum as well, right?
Yeah.
But then the academic and merit dollars and scholarships are associated to um, a GPA that's at minimum point 0.5 to 1 point higher, right?
Yeah.
So if the school is requiring, yeah, if the school is requiring a 3, a 2.5, then to even start sniffing around the academic scholarships, you probably finna have to be at a 3.25 or a 3.5 to get those. So
Yeah.
that shows right there, you a student, then an athlete.
Yeah. You you put forth
Mhm.
your academic prowess and you strive for better than average because C is just average.
It
C
is.
is average.
And
And
it ain't
that's
nothing wrong with
no,
those kids that are only able to get the athletic scholarships. Hopefully, it's enough to cover what you need, right?
because listen, I got an academic scholarship my freshman year. I played cup ball
Oh, Lord.
my freshman year. Actually, I played cup ball most of my college career, but I lost them dollars.
Mhm.
And I had to learn from that mistake. I didn't take it serious enough. I was just like, man, oh, funk ass 3 point. This shit gonna be easy.
Mm-mm.
But then when I was out here partying, having that good time, but I was still going to class. But that's 17 hours, that's fall semester. And the real hammer was the 18 in the spring.
Mhm.
18 in the spring, that was long in the spring. Well, long.
Well, I
Spring
was
was long.
on academic scholarships for multiple degrees, multiple years. I never lost mine.
That's good, because I know that's why I chose her. She is such a smart, beautiful young lady.
A smart cookie.
Yeah, gotta have somebody smart enough to put up with me.
You right about that.
Hey, now, yeah, I know
Or
how to
smart
tease.
enough to play blind.
She ain't playing, don't let her fool you.
Or I'm just blind.
You see just good with green eyes.
Mm.
But yeah, but no, that goes into what we've been talking about. Is that when you go look at, the financial pieces, you go look at, like we said, we talk about, is the government gonna give you some money? Can you qualify? So if you're a person, let's say I'm studious, but I'm not athletic.
Mhm.
So I qualify for some academic, still got the unmet need,
Yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah,
come
yeah.
from a background where financially my family has struggled.
Right.
Then you look for other avenues to help you get to the college that
Yeah.
you choosing to go
Fill
to.
those gaps.
And you gotta fill that gap in. And sometimes that gap is financial aid from the federal government, scholarships, or what we talked about, loans.
Mhm.
And like I say, for everybody that has a student loan, even my wife. That it's what it is. It's a loan.
Yeah, it
It
is.
ain't free.
No, you're gonna pay it back
It come with a price.
with interest.
Yeah, but you gonna pay more than what you
Yeah,
got.
absolutely. You're gonna pay probably a lot more.
And some people have to make those sacrifices
That's
to go
true.
to the
That's
next
true.
level.
That's true.
So that can play into you choosing where you go and how much that school costs or
Yeah.
how close it is to you.
Yeah.
And then by the time you walked across that stage, most of the time, a, s- a child, I think, knows where they're going. By the time they've graduated high school, I think 75 to 80% of them have almost locked down. Not saying that they got it 100% locked, but I think they got that.
Well, I
I
know
know where I'm
a
going.
few that are, still like, they officially walked across the stage, but, they're not yet 100% decided on anything, like, no thumb.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and certain things
It
can play in that.
happens, yeah,
You can be still waiting on paperwork from the school.
yeah.
Could be still waiting on paperwork from a scholarship or an endowment, all kind of stuff,
Mhm.
man. Just waiting on stuff. And so when you think about it like that, that's how it all comes together at the end. And then when you make that decision, and I mean make that decision,
Yeah.
gotta stick with it.
Yeah, you do. A little bit, a year or 2,
Yeah, because
at
even
least a year.
because even remember, the school Taylor's going to wasn't the first one to offer her something.
No, they were actually the last offer she received.
Yeah, so I mean, what you say? Sometimes you gotta hold out
Yeah, yeah, they were, like, literally the last offer she received.
because remember the first university gave her deadline. It was early in the
It
year,
was way
like
too
October
early
something.
for me to be committing and signing and declaring and putting myself in harm's way because if you commit to school in one conference, you cannot commit to you can't change your commitment to another school in that conference. Like
Yeah,
you can't and that was things we learned. And
yeah.
then the longer it takes you to commit, a lot of times the money is reduced. So you start to play Russian roulette.
And it's a gamble,
It is. You have to figure it out.
but at the same time, life is a gamble.
It is.
And so, most people never went with the first choice in life of anything.
Yeah, it was actually the the last
Yeah.
choice.
But the best change,
It
let's say the best
was.
was saved for
It
last
was. It was.
because they offered both academic
Mhm.
and athletic.
Mhm.
And it was within a certain proximity
It
that
was.
he was willing to drive to.
Right.
And so those are the things you talk about. They come together
Right.
and you're like, I think I got my choice. I think I figured out where I want to
Yeah.
be.
And even, like, after her injury happened, they held off on sending her info so that the clock wouldn't start ticking.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
waited until the day after she had her surgery
Yeah.
to send her info so the clock could start ticking from that point. Well, it had been, what, 4.5 weeks since we had really decided, but they did us a solid and just waited, just gave her some time.
Yeah. And that lets you know she chose the right fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they
Absolutely.
and they chose the right child.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so man,
Absolutely.
and so I mean, like I said, we are over the moon in the stars, in the atmosphere
In the
because
clouds.
in the clouds still because she Taylor has not graduated and like I said, it's one of not just one.
Oh, no.
Some people you get that one of one. You graduate high school and that's pretty much gonna be the last time you walk across the stage
No, yeah, no.
academically.
Yeah, no.
But she's got plans for furthering her education on
Mhm.
beyond this, and we're gladly gonna support her and
Absolutely.
nurture her and push her in the same right direction as a lot of other parents. We're just millions of parents
Yeah.
that are doing this across the country. And so when you think about that, millions
Yeah, that's a lot.
happens every year.
Every year around the same
Millions. Yeah,
time.
it's like millions of people graduate.
Meanwhile, these jobs is getting low. No, I'm not gonna go there.
That is still a reality too. I
I'm not
mean,
gonna
just
go
think
there.
about it. Even acceptance into colleges. Certain amount of colleges are reducing the number of students they can take.
Probably because they're reducing the number of professors and staff that they have.
And what happens if I mean, I'm not even talking about smaller schools, I'm talking about bigger schools. Now just think of the school that you chose completely shut down all of a sudden.
Mm. And we looked at one that she absolutely loved, and I think, 3, 4 months later, 5 months later, something like that, I got an email that the school had been absorbed by
A
a
big
larger educational institution, and I was like, "Whoa."
yeah,
So, yeah, it was a old fancy school. I was like, "Man, I wanted to go to school there."
yeah. But I mean, you see what I'm saying? So that
Mhm.
just plays into, well, I chose you, but then y'all chose something else.
Yeah, yeah,
What we talked about, teams get a new coach. That former head coach walked to your living room,
yeah.
helped and jive for your
Mhm.
child.
Or brought you to their
Yeah,
office and fed you.
yeah. And then by the time it's time for you to declare, that coach gone.
Gone.
But now I mean that whole plan has changed
Mhm.
because a lots of athletes, besides just the money and the prestige and
Mhm.
college of their choice, they went because somebody actually wanted them, and maybe that coach had a plan for their
Yeah,
future.
it could have been a vibe, it could have been a method of communication or a style of communication. It could have been a playing style that the coach had. It could have been the level of aggressiveness that the coach had. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah,
way coach did his rotations. It's not necessarily always about, sadly, like the school. The coach has a lot to do with because we sat in some offices and we came out and we were like, "Oh, that coach talked too much."
and that
And
coach
I'm
didn't say
there.
nothing about what they plan was for,
Yeah,
and
like
and and granted, she's a freshman.
right.
And we understand it's gonna take a year or 2 to
Oh,
get you
yeah.
worked into the system good.
Yeah.
But we also are looking for, and she's also very understanding and like, so what are you gonna do with me?
What's my role?
What's my role?
Mhm.
And yeah, so the coaches had a pretty decent idea what they
Yeah.
thought about her.
Yeah.
And that was a
Absolutely.
good thing.
Absolutely.
And so, I just think, to all those out there, congratulations. Hug and kiss your babies. Tell them
Yeah.
you love them because they wings is finna spread. And when they wings spread, that means they got to fly.
That's right.
And when they fly, that means you got to watch them take flight,
Hope they stay up there in the air.
but also may have to hover. Sometimes, the mother birds like to hover. They like, I'm down here. I got it. I see you. I see you. Sometimes they like to hover. Just how it goes sometimes. Especially if your proximity is real close. Just-
I have time for this.
So, Miss Parker, I appreciate you getting on here as we finishing up. We're not finishing up. We're on part four of the college.
We got
I
one
mean,
more that'll take us
yeah,
into June.
yeah. As we're going through the high school graduation, scenario scenes and whatnots.
Mhm.
What can you give to people? Because you now as a mom of a high school graduate.
You ought to stop.
Yeah, this your first podcast. Being a mama of a high school graduate.
Wow, you make it sound like I have like extra seasoning now. Like, right.
You got the seasoning like that barbecue I did this past
Yeah,
weekend.
whatever. No one
Yeah,
cares
it
about
was
the
smacking. It
barbecue.
was smacking. Don't let
Yeah,
a lie to you.
I don't really have much to add other than, hey, you know, it's gonna be some challenging times. It's gonna be some difficult times. Um, you get through it. You think got through 18 years,
Hmm.
so it'll be fine. It's a ride. Let's take it.
Catch y'all next time.